Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be covering topics on how to operate Excel for beginner. Now the first thing you need to do is to click to launch your Excel. Now when Excel is launched, you probably have this page, and if you're using any version of Excel, you're still going to have a similar page like this. The only difference is that the ribbons will be arranged differently. But right now I'm using Excel 2016. So follow me as I teach you the basic. So the first thing you notice in Excel is the tabs. We have the tab, we have the home tab, we have the insert, we have the page layout, we have the formulas, we have the data, we have the review, we have the view. So and under each tabs there is ribbons. We have the clipboard ribbons, we have the font ribbon, which controls the font size, the bold, and if you want to italicize your work, and if you want to underline your work, and also if you want to put your work in a bottom border. And you can also use a paint bucket to fill the content of your cell if you want. You can also change the font color of your content in Excel. So you use the font to control whatever you're typing on Excel, and also the alignment ribbon. We have the number ribbon and etc. Come to the insert tab. We have the tables ribbon. We have the illustrations, adds in, charts, tours, sparklines, and what have you. The page layout tab also has ribbons under it, and the data tab. We might not be able to cover all in this video, but in future videos I promise you'll be seeing much where we'll be using much of that. Now the first thing you need to know about Excel is Excel have a column which is ranging from top to bottom, while it also has a row which is ranging from the right side to the left side. Now the intersection of a row and a column is what is called cell. Now, and every cell has a name. Now if you notice here, this column has this is column A, column B, column C, column D, column E, and column F. And it's also where the column stops, where the column gets to Z, it starts from AA, AB, AC, and so on. And if you notice here, the row has a number one, the first row, the number one row, 2, 3, 4 to 11 million rows in Excel. So I told you earlier that the intersection of a column and a row is what is called a cell. Now the cell, every cell has a name. Every cell in Excel has a name. This is cell E6. And how do you get the name? I told you that the intersection of a row and a column is what is called a cell. Now you notice that the column of this is E, while the row is 6. Now the name given to this cell will be E6. And the same goes for the column F. The name of this column F right here is F7. You can see it's on the F column and on the 7th row. That is basically the naming of Excel, the naming of a cell in Excel. We also have what is called ranges in Excel. Now, what is range? A range is a group of cells selected together. This can be a range, this can be a range, this can be a range, this can be a range. Now, notice that a range, the same way a cell can also have a name, a range can also have a name. Now, if I highlight this, the name of this range is D5 semicolon H13. Now, how do I find the name? How do I know the name of this cell, of this range? It's very simple. I have column D D5 through, with the use of semicolon, through H13. If you notice here, the first highlight here is D5 through H13. Now, I can also make Excel highlight the row I just selected now simply by using the equals to sign and the range name. Now, let me try this. Equals to D5 through H13. You see, Excel highlights the range for me without clicking or changing any formula. Now I can also make Excel highlight more than what I've just selected now. I want Excel to highlight more range without me highlighting. I just want Excel to do the capturing itself, and I can change this to H20. I can make it M20, you see. So Excel has the name. Now imagine I have a content in this cell. Excel can capture it with just by me inserting the range name in Excel. Now if I have a content in the whole of this cell, I can easily use the range name to do a calculation and to do a sum up of this range. So we've taught you how to check your range and how to check your name, and I've also talked about the tabs and the ribbons. Now let me show you what you can do with text. Let me do a quick data entry here, and then we move forward. You can fast forward the video. So the first one is employee name. Employee name. ID. Employee ID. Wages per hour. Hours worked. Now, if you notice that here I have my employee name, it's possibly not showing, as you can see here. Employee name. Now, there are two ways to this approach. I can drag the column to show my employee name. I can drag the column here, right click on it and drag it by the side to make sure it shows completely the employee name. And I can also use a technique called resize or slim fitting. Now for the wage per hour, I can simply come to the intersection, to the line that join the C and the D, the column C and D together. You see, my mouse cursor is there and it has changed to a two-sided arrow. Now from here I can double click on it and it's gonna slim fit it to exactly the size it needs to just fit in the cell properly. And I'll do the same thing for the hours worked. Now the employee name, the first name is Julie, Samuel, Daniel, Emmanuel, Deborah. Now the employee ID is 5546 329 021 321 451. Now let me assume that the wages per hours. Now what I want to teach you here is, now you see I probably made a mistake in my wages per hour. It should be wages adheres to wages per hour. So now in this case, you notice that my cursor, I've clicked on the wages per hour. Now how do I go about it to make sure, if I want to make an edit here? Already I clicked on it. Now if I hit on my backspace to edit it, it's gonna delete everything. Now let's go back. Now how do I make sure that it doesn't delete anything but actually make change to what I want to make changes on? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on top of the cell, double click on it. Now you see I have a pointer blinking right after H. Now from there you can now hit your backspace to make the correction. Now another thing you need to know is in Excel, if you want to move up and down, you can hit on enter to move down, and you can use the shift enter to move up. And if you want to move to the side, you can use tab, or you can use shift tab to do the otherwise. Now let me insert the wages per hour, and let me show you some simple sum up in Excel. Now Julie worked for 5 hours. Wages per hour is $100 for all employee. And the hours worked, assuming Julie worked for 2 hours, Samuel worked for 5, Daniel for 3, 2, 1. Now let's find the total payout here. The total payout. Now what I'm about to teach you is a simple calculation that Excel can help you do. Now in most cases, most beginners would rather use a multiplication table, probably through with the use of their calculators to multiply the hours worked and the wages per hour. But in this case, we can easily use the Excel function, which is sum, and it's simple. Now the first thing you need to do before you start any sum, you need to use the equals to sign. It's very simple. If you can remember our algebra in our early school. Now that's the same thing applies to this case. Now what you're about to do is similar to algebra. Now I want to pick, as I already stated, that whatever function you want to use in Excel, the equals to sign start first. Now you can now call out the function. Many people who understand programming wouldn't have issue with this, but so you use the equals to sign and now call the function the sum function, and you click on your tab to select the sum function. Now what we want to do is we want to multiply the wages per hour multiplied by the hours worked. Now all you need to do is you can call the cell name. That is why understanding the naming of the cell is important. Now you can call the cell name. I want to multiply the cell in C2. As you can see, the column is C and the row is 2. The intersection of a column and a row is what is called a cell. Now I want to pick what is in cell C2. Cell C2. You see, Excel helped me in doing that. Now, if you want to multiply in Excel, you need the asterisk sign. We use the asterisk sign to multiply. Now, I click on the asterisk sign, and I want to pick the content in the cell D2 to multiply, and then I close the parenthesis and I hit enter. Now, so the total payout for Julie is $200 for working for 2 hours. Now I could also come down here and do the same sum up of functions that I've just called. Now sum, press the tab button and call the name of the cell C3, multiply by cell D3 and close parentheses, then hit enter. But why do we have Excel if we have to repeat the same function? In this case, I might not really need to repeat the same function. I can easily come down here and click on the function and drag it down. Then it's going to repeat the same formula for all the functions, for all the cell. Now if I double click on this to make an edit, you see it highlights this without pressing the function, and the same goes for all. Now assuming I have a list of up to 1000 names with functions, let me do a copy and paste of this. Ctrl C, paste. Now assuming I want Excel to repeat the same formula up here, I can easily copy the formula here, Ctrl C and Ctrl V to paste. Excel is going to repeat the same calculation I did for both of them. Now this is why Excel is very important and why a lot of business use it, is because it is easy to sum up whatever you want to sum up. If I have a row or a column a row of 10,000 names, I can use this function to get their sum and their value. Now, if I want to get the total sum of the wages per hour and the wage per hour, the hours worked, and also get the sum of the total, it is simple. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate the range of the wages per hour, the range of the hours worked, and the range of the total. You know, I told you earlier that range is the total, range is a group of cells selected together. Now, let's find the total of wages per hour. Now we're going to use the same function we used earlier, which is first the equal sign and the sum function. We call the function, and what we're going to do is, in this case, is call the cell name or the range we want to capture. Now I want to pick from cell C2, true, remember, true, cell C11. Now you see, Excel has captured the whole range for me, and I can close the parentheses and hit enter. Now it showed me that all the ranges I highlighted here, the total, as you can see here, is 1,000 rather. So here I can do the same thing and copy the function, but for easy understanding, I will repeat the same process. Now you use the equal sign and call the function, hit your tab button, and call the cell name or the range you want to capture. Now I want cell D2, true, D11, and close parentheses and hit enter. Now I have 32. Now if you do a sum up of this, 2 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 is going to end up and give you 32. And just like I showed you earlier, I'm not going to do a sum up of the total. I'm only going to copy the function that I called here and paste it here. Now I'm going to use the Ctrl C and Ctrl V to paste. Now as you can see, Excel has repeated the same thing I did here, the same function I did here, and it has replicated it under this. And I can use the escape sign to escape this. Now what you need to know about Excel also is that Excel is easy in doing a sum up of your work. Now if I have a number here, now if I want to put a serial number here within the employee ID, I can easily come to the column here, the column at the top here, to make Excel shift the employee name to the right hand side, so I can have my serial number at the other side. Now what you need to do here is click on the left, click on your mouse, click on the left click, and come to the insert button and hit on the insert. Now you see Excel has shifted the employee name to the other side, and I can do that as many times as I want to, as long as I have something to put in the cell. But in this case, I don't have anything to put in the cell, so I'm going to delete the extra column I created. Now what you need to do is to click on your mouse and drag it to the right, or rather to the left, and hit on the left click on your mouse and hit the delete button. Now what I want to show you is how to use Excel to replicate your numbers, your serial number, without typing them 1 to whatever number you want. So here I have serial number. Now I can do the manual way. I can do 1 and hit enter, 2, hit enter, 3, hit enter, 4, hit enter, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or I can simply, let me delete this. Or I can simply press the 1 and make Excel duplicate it for me. Replicate from 1 to whichever number I want. I can come to this arrow here. You see this thick line on the cell. Now you come here. Now you see my cursor has changed. Now you would click on it with your mouse and drag it down. Now you see in this case I have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. But also you can see the plus sign here. But you can also come here to change it. You hold click on it and click on fill series. So when you click on fill series, you can have your 1 to 10. And if you have a number ranging from 1 to 1,000, you can do the same for it. And just like I showed you, I told you there's a way you can slim fit your cell to make sure it size the content so that I can have a proper, well aligned content in Excel. And I can also do the same for the whole content in Excel. Now, how do I do that? I have the employee ID, that means the serial number not properly slim fit, and the ID here. Now watch this. I'm going to hold click here and drag it across and come to the intersection between any of the content that I highlighted. You see, my cursor has changed. I can come here and double click. You see, Excel has properly slim fit all content here. Now I'm also going to show you a little bit of the font ribbon and how to use it. I want to make sure that my serial number and my subheading here has a unique, because it's a little bit it's kind of not different from the content that I have here. But to make it a little bit different, I can come to the font ribbon and change the font and also change how it looks. Now I'm going to hit on the bold icon. You see, it has changed, and I can also come down here to slim fit my employee information. Just like I showed you, you highlight it here, and you come to any of the highlighted content here, and you come to the middle. You see my cursor has changed again, and you double click on it, and Excel is going to slim fit it perfectly. Now, what you need to know is that you can also drag the row to make sure that it fits and align with the content in your Excel. I can come to the row here, highlight it and drag it a little bit down to make sure that it fits. Now I'm going to show you something here on the alignment. Now from the employee ID, from my drag down here, you see the subheading is a little bit down. Now I would like to move the subheading to the middle here and make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to highlight the subheading and come to the alignment. You see, I have this if I want to shift it to the right, to the left, to the left, and this is if I want to shift it to the right, while this if I want to shift it to the middle. Now it's already in the middle, but I want to put this in the middle of the column here. I want it to be here. Now I hit on this, and you see Excel has moved it here. Now the same thing goes for all this. I might want to make sure that the row size this and properly size this, so I can highlight all from 1 to 10 and drag it a little bit here to make sure that it's made a proper slim fit, to make sure that all employee name size, and to give me a perfect look for my Excel, for my work. Now here also I would like to change the employee ID here, employee serial, the subheading here. I would like to change the font. So I can click on the font here and probably change it to whichever font I'm pleased with. I can change it to this, and I can come back here to do a slim fit again. Now I also want to put this in a table. This is a little bit rough, so I want to put it in a table to give me a now I'll come to the font here again and come to the table. You see I have my bottom border, and click on the bottom border and come down to all borders. That means I want all the content in the Excel to be bordered, and click on the border side. You see here, everything now is now in a border. Now I can print this to whoever wants the employee ID and the information. Now that is a very simple explanation of the basic you need to know about Excel.